most important element is the reforms. That is another suggestion by the ADB as well as the IMF, that you have to bring a structured reform into your energy sector, especially power sector, electricity and gas sector. Today, when I'm speaking to you, around 2.3 trillion is the circular debt of the power sector. Similarly, 1.5 is rupees is the circular debt of the gas sector. So it is almost 4 trillion rupees. So IMF and the Asian Development Bank, other lenders, they are suggesting to the government of Pakistan to reduce this circular debt with the passage of time, taking certain measures. Then structured reform for the state-owned organizations, because if we just calculate the entire loans or the debts on the state-owned organization, it is more than 2 trillion rupees, and that is PIA, Pakistan International Airlines, the steel mills, the railways. All these institutions are in losses, 400 billion, 300 billion, 500 billion. So that is another burden on our economy and our exchequer and the government. That's why they are suggesting that you have to go to the privatization process. And the IMF has added another one point which it has suggested to the government, and it is part of the agreement with IMF, that is a build climate resilience, because Pakistan is one of the worst countries which were being hit by the climate change in last 10 years or 15 years. In 2010 we have seen a devastating floods which has affected our economy more than 10 to 12 billion dollars. Recently we have seen in Sindh, last year, the worst floods that we have witnessed, and as the consequence to that, more than 30 billion dollars were losses to our agriculture, our livestock, as well as the infrastructure which was being destroyed. So these are some of the suggestions by the ADB report. Now, what is the solution? Naturally, that's the simplest solution is that there should be a balance between the income and the expenditure, whether it's the economy of an individual or a family or of the country. The biggest challenge to this country has been that over the period of time, our governments were constituted such policies that we have been going through a huge debt process, and today we are under a debt trap. So you have to keep a balance between income and the expenditure. You have to increase your exports, which will bring dollars to Pakistan. You have to reduce your imports, which take away your dollars from Pakistan. In 2022, $48 billion was the gap between imports and exports, the trade gap. 48 billion. We have to pay extra 48 billion, and you have to generate that amount from somewhere. But this year, naturally, the outgoing government, they had a strong hold on the imports. That's why the trade gap was only $27.7 billion, but still, naturally, 30 billion is a huge amount for a country like Pakistan, which is, short of dollars. Then we have to promote our IT sector. And according to the experts, $4 to $10 billion we can generate from the IT sector. We have to, bring new technologies to our industries in Pakistan if we want to compete the international market. In this way, we can, get more and more, orders from the international markets and the international buyers outside Pakistan and bring, dollars to Pakistan. We have to introduce high tech into our industry. Then agriculture is a biggest challenge for Pakistan. Your food security. And in last couple of years or 3 years, if you just see the balance sheet, more than 10 to 11 billion dollars have been spent for importing the food items. The wheat, sugar, in some cases, pulses, palm oil. So we spend a lot of money on that. So that's why recently, LIMS were being introduced or established in Pakistan, that is Land Information and Management System. And the purpose of this is to just get the information and advise the farmers throughout the country that how we can improve our per acre yield in Pakistan, and at least we can meet our own demand. And then of course we have to expand our tax base. We have to bring more people into our tax network. Presently it's only 10.3% of the GDP, which is very, very low. We have to increase, we have to take it up to 15%. And a good country, a good economically strong country needs to have a 20% of the GDP of your tax base. Tax to GDP must be more than 20%. And then of course fiscal management, that all these lenders, IMF, Asian Development Bank, World Bank, all these reports, they have been suggesting to us. And then we have to bring reforms in the governance system. Recently we have seen sugar were being smuggled to Afghanistan, and Pakistani market and the consumer were facing a lot of difficulties. So this is another area where our governments have to put a lot of efforts, and they have to be vigilant, and they have to bring reforms into the governance structure in Pakistan. And last but not the least is the political stability. That's why the IMF is suggesting to us. That's why other lenders are suggesting to us that whatever plan you have, you cannot achieve that until there is a political stability in Pakistan. Political, economic growth